Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae is an arena-based hack-and-slash action game. Developed by Japanese indie studio Zenith Blue, much of Hikae is bland and generic, but is narrowly saved by surprisingly deep combat mechanics. From the story to the soundtrack and even the graphics, Hikae is stunningly generic. In Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae, you play as Misa, a Blade Templar who is on a quest to free your friend Suzuka from an evil and demonic blade that was used to slay your master. This serves as the basis of the story, and it really isn't expanded upon further as you play through, which is unfortunate. In regards to the graphics, despite the game being from 2013, the art style and fidelity is lacking. The character models in the arenas are boring, and ultimately, the most interesting graphical showcase are the yeeks. And without any added context, these are just any old digital yeeks. Additionally, if this is what I want to see, there are plenty of other ways to go about it. What I'm trying to say is that Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae looks like an unpressed PS2 title. Fortunately, with the graphics not being demanding, the game's performance remained flawless throughout my time playing. Outside of the blandness of the game, the other main issue is the wonky camera. The camera will frequently get pulled off of enemies that you're currently fighting but haven't defeated, transitioning to new enemies in the opposite direction. This got old really quick and was present all throughout playing. Admittedly, when starting Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae, I found much of it to be quite boring and generic. But underneath this blandness, the game showed some signs of life when I got more into the combat, thanks in large part to the upgrades. Your sword possesses abilities, and melee combat is how you do battle. You gain SP when using certain attacks, and hitting an enemy can cause it to enter a bleeding state, making it flash red. Enemies in this state are weaker and more vulnerable to extra damage. Hikae features a surprisingly complex fighting system. Striking enemies will cause your Zeal to go up, while being struck will cause it to go down. Higher Zeal gives higher Zanshin damage and more SP when you defeat enemies. You gain SP by defeating enemies and can use it to upgrade your health, melee attacks, both with the sword and hand-to-hand combat, and can learn special combat moves that add to your arsenal by way of upgrades. These upgrades play an integral part in the game and really enhance the combat. Fortunately, you can play through the game again and again with more required upgrades that add depth to the combat. Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae is divided into stages. Each has 5 waves and then culminates in a boss battle. The game is admittedly at its best when the screen is teeming with enemies and you're frantically moving about. At first, outside of the combat mechanics, I felt the other highlight would be the boss battles. But unfortunately, once you get their patterns down, they become pretty easy to defeat. Something that I really enjoyed though was how the save and upgrade mechanics work. Instead of waiting for a stage or wave to clear, you're free to upgrade and save at will. These quality of life features are simple but make the experience more enjoyable than if they had been absent. Even though Mitsurugi Kamui Hikae only took 2 hours or so to get through, it got more enjoyable the more I played, but didn't do anything that blew my mind. While there certainly aren't anywhere near as many hack and slash games being released to say the early to mid 2000s, there are still plenty enough that this should be a lower priority for you as far as games in the genre to check out. あなたを殺す